Hello. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're getting through your day, being productive, having some moments of contentment and peace as you go through each minute. This is ArtsyWisdom. Thank you for coming by. Just wanted to look into a question today about the courts. Are they going to be able to be a stopgap to all the crazy, all the rules that are bending? So that'll be my one question. I'm not going to make this too long. First, I wanted to mention my video a couple videos ago about, it was a whole bunch of stuff, Musk, Trump, and all the things that are happening. But I think I struck a nerve with my channel here. My big goal is to be authentic, be honest, to the best of my ability. I'm not perfect. We're all in this together. This is an experiment, a creative experiment. I use my intuition now. And I know it's a very difficult time and we're all very amped up and the energy is like super strong and everybody's scared. But I'm not going to tell anything that I don't think is what I feel it to be true. And that's where I am. So hopefully you guys understand that. If something wonderful happens and I'm completely wrong, fine. Yay. Great. I'm happy about that. But that's who I am. That's what I'm about. And I do my best. Okay? Not apologizing. I'm just telling you that's where I'm coming from. Now, the other thing is, I posted a guy, a psychiatrist. He has a video, Dr. I don't know where he's from actually, but it was really interesting. He talked about how the Republican voters or whoever voted for Trump were radicalized and how that process worked. And he referred a lot of KGB training videos, and he talked about the mentality, a bunch of things that are happening at this time and what led them to do that. And the radicalization, sadly, he says, you really can't go back. It's really hard for them to return because you can offer facts and they won't see them or feel them. They've already decided, basically brainwashing. But he talks about the process. And so help me understand, and maybe it will you too, what is happening in that mindset. It shifted my perspective and how I perhaps could see them and see how we're experiencing this time. He also had a suggestion at the end, even though you can't change their minds for the most part, about using AI at the end, which I think is interesting. I don't understand it exactly, but it was like a common place that we could all meet, if that makes sense. Anyway, I suggest you watch it. It's like 15, 20 minutes. It's not that long. It's very interesting. The other thing is Mel Dore, his health. I'm subscribed to his channel, and I know he's going through a lot, and he's been really ill and in the hospital. And I just wanted to send out prayers to his husband and family, send light and energy to the professionals, doctors, staff, whoever's caring for him, that they do it in the most helpful and harmonious way that'll, heal his body and his mind and his spirit. Anyway, so hopefully, if you guys are probably doing that too, because if you're on my channel, you probably know that. But I just wanted to mention that because he's such a sweetie. And then the courts. So today, Justice Roberts, John Roberts, did posted a rare media statement saying that because Trump announced that he wants to impeach the judge that disagreed with the deportation of those 300 Venezuelan gang members. And John Roberts said, well, for the last 200 years, we do the appeals thing. We go through the court system. You can't just decide to impeach a judge because you disagree with them. So that was a very rare pushback from the Chief Justice. So that was good. So that made me want to think, or reminded me, are the courts going to continue to be pushing back? Because it seems like there's not a lot of teeth if the Trump administration just ignores things and their lawyers go to court and they just lie about everything. So I wanted to look in what will happen there in the near term anyway. So let's get started with that. Thank you for sticking around. Let's look into these courts and what they're doing. Visually, I see a porous white wall, meaning the quartz is a visual, because I get visions and I see images and colors and different things, and sometimes food. It's like a white sort of wall. It's there. It's kind of like, you guys probably know about this. You know, when you get osteoporosis, you know, your bone thins out. That's the feeling I'm getting, is like right now we're in osteopenia. Anybody knows about that? It's like the pre-osteoporosis stage. So it's porous, but it's not broken, and it's still there. And it, you know, you're having fallen, your hip is still there, but that's the kind of feeling I got, is that a bone. So it's a light colored thing. I got the Page of Pentacles, which I'm looking at the way this llama is looking at us. These are my animal cards. He's like, yeah, so this is how I am. This is the law. We're going to follow the truth. And that's what the, you know, straightforward, although a llama is really cute, but it's like, he looks pretty stern, you know, this is me. He also spits, I think. But let's look at the quartz. It feels like, or I imagine that they're just pushing here, pushing there. And this one slides back a little. That one's, you know, the judges or the court cases or the lawsuits, they're pushing back. Now, I think my image I also get too is because they're like, they're always trying to push out of these situations so they can just break free. But I have a sense of anger on the law-abiding courts side, where they are getting more and more stern in their assessment of this administration. Not, they all come from different districts, and they're federal judges and different things. But what will they do? I feel like they're getting more and more angry, these judges, at him and them and the lies. Do they have an option? What can they do if they don't, like, come back to court, or they just blatantly defy the judge order? I know they said it was in the air of the Venezuelan plane, so oopsie, sorry, can't bring it back. It was international waters, but some people who don't watch the news, they just see a group of Venezuelan gang members being deported. People don't follow anything. They don't understand what's going on completely. They're going, yay, okay, we don't want them here anyway. But that's just a step in lawlessness, because we have rights as people here in the States, even though they're not possibly legal immigrants, or maybe they're going through the process. And I'm fine with them deporting criminals. I'm happy with that. The problem is you just have to a process to go through, and they're flaunting that. They're, in fact, off of the government website, they took off information about the Navajo code talkers from World War II that saved lives and did so. DEI, to align with the DEI new policies. It's just insane. I'm so embarrassed. It's just, for any of you that are outside the country, I'm sorry. And I know a lot of you know this. Americans are not generally appreciate, you know, what he's doing is just hideous. So I know a lot of you know that, but okay. Okay, let's see. Courts, will they? Actually, I see something barging in, like, so here's the administration pushing out, and I see a point. So maybe there's one court case that's really going to make news, or it's really going to defy them. It doesn't feel like it's right now, but not in the too much distant future. What is your options, though? All I see is the military. I don't think the military, because he's the commander-in-chief, so he has executive powers over the military. But there's something with the legal and the military. That's weird. They can't, and I don't think it's the other way around, where they're saying martial law, although I do see them doing that during protest at some, not martial law, but bringing in the military, National Guard, or whatever to quell protest, or local police forces down the road. Veterans are so angry. And that's, I think, part of the thing that's going to really push back in that arrow is veterans. They're losing jobs, and people are really not having any of that. That is the high bar, because, you know, federal, you can say generally federal government employees, that's a vague notion, but when you hear that's veterans and all the services that they provide for different, the VA and everything, I think that's going to be a big legal challenge that will actually have traction. But what can they do? What can the courts do? I see repeated cases, like, say the judge says you have to do this or that, or you have to rescind the layoffs, whatever it is that they say. I see that they do it at the very minimum. They avoid. The administration does, following the order, and then the lawyers come back and they submit, they appeal or have a hearing, and the judge says you got to do this, and then what happens after that? We will not win. Who's we? I feel a sense of lawlessness within the administration. And the courts are just, like I said, the osteopenia, like the bone is getting more and more porous. Well, they break. No, I see that eventually, I see this crust of the bone or whatever, the quartz, kind of building in different sections. Like here they break through, but here they don't. But what can they do? It's just a repeated pushback. I think they're going to start, there's something, is it legal? I think they're going to start chastising the lawyers, or having the lawyers for the government lose the, license or something like that. But the DOJ is fighting it, and they have the ultimate power. And that's the thing, is they override so much. It's going to be a nonstop shit show, guys. But I don't see the courts going away. I just feel like it's a fight. We're going to get through this. It's just a fight. And we have to support our judges. We have to support the system, the three branches, even though two of them seem to be taken up by the same entity. Four of Wands. And that's usually a celebration, like a wedding, being together. I do feel like there's groups that are going to congeal or combine, like the veterans, federal government employees that got laid off, just all the people that are being affected by Doge and by all this stuff are combining efforts. And I don't know what the overlap would be, their common denominator will be. But I see them entering into these suits with a large scale that will really be huge. It's not right away. And I know it seems like, oh, they can't do anything. But because it's the amount, it's so massive, they're going to have to respond. And there's not just the courts, I'm saying, but the administration it's going to happen, because they have to respond to this, because it's so illegal, so unconstitutional. And then it'll go to the Supreme Court, and then things will get pushed back. And then the Supreme Court will say, nada, go back, start over, because you're not doing that right. And I do see a lot of employees going back after that. All right, take it or leave it. Hope that helps somebody. I'm not sure, it's kind of messy right now. And I got the sun card, the lemur, I think it's, or ring-tailed lemur. And he's gathering sun. The sun will come out tomorrow. That sunrise that I see around in the water with my owl spirit, it's getting closer. It's still dark out, but it's getting closer. And that gook is getting thinner. We'll see. All right, you guys, take care. Have a good day.